The cold silence of space swallowed the dropship as it approached Nick's station. Dr. Ilara Voss stared through the reinforced window, her reflection flickering over the dead planet Aetheron below. The station's outer lights flickered slightly as the craft docked. Despite its massive scale, nearly 3 kilometers across, the orbital outpost seemed deserted. The crew had been reduced to skeleton numbers ever since the find. Ilara had read the briefing files, of course. A xenolinguist with 3 degrees and 2 off-world digs under her belt, she'd never heard of a sealed alien structure surviving this intact. But it was the rule, blunt, terrifying in its simplicity, that chilled her. Don't wake the aliens. Inside, the station was a tomb. Dim lighting, long echoing hallways, and personnel who kept glancing over their shoulders. Ilara was greeted by Commander Dane Rourke, a man of iron jaw and tired eyes. The moment they were alone in the command deck, he skipped the pleasantries. "We unearthed something, alive. We don't understand it, but it doesn't sleep like us, it waits." He handed her a sealed tablet. "Your job is to translate and analyze the symbols on the vault. You do not go inside. You do not touch the door. One rule, Voss." Ilara was introduced to the rest of the station crew. Lieutenant Sana Iqbal, security lead, Dr. Milo Chen, the station's biotechnologist, and Kellen Ward, the AI systems engineer. Each of them looked burned out, as if Aetheron's silence had soaked into their bones. Chen was the only one who seemed energized. "We're standing on the threshold of a pre-human civilization," he said breathlessly. "Do you know how rare that is? But there's a reason they told us not to wake it," Ward muttered, staring into his mug of synth coffee. The next day, Ilara was taken planetside via a gravity skimmer. The vault was located deep beneath Aetheron's crust, uncovered by a geological quake that split a mesa in half. The descent into the excavation shaft took nearly 40 minutes, the drill elevators groaning with age and pressure. At the base, she finally saw it, a smooth black hemisphere buried in red stone. The alien vault pulsed faintly with deep blue energy, rhythmic as a heartbeat. Ilara began translating the symbols etched into the outer shell. Unlike anything in human records, they followed a logic she couldn't yet crack. Circular syntax, multi-layered grammar. But one repeating phrase began to appear, over and over. "We are sealed. Do not break time. Beneath silence lies ruin." Strange things began to happen. The comms channel in her lab buzzed with static at night, static that sometimes sounded like breathing. A maintenance drone went haywire and tore itself apart. One crew member suffered a seizure after looking too long at a glyph cluster. He muttered something before collapsing. "It sees me." Milo Chen came to her with a theory. "They're in stasis, suspended animation, not dead, waiting. This vault, it's not a tomb, it's a lock, and they sealed themselves in voluntarily." "Why would anyone seal themselves inside for millions of years?" Ilara asked. Chen looked at her, his face pale. "To protect something from getting out." At Uro 3, a security breach alert sounded. A drone had been remotely hacked and sent into the outer ring of the vault. It broadcast a scan pulse. A mistake. The pulse triggered something. Readings spiked. The vault hummed louder, and the surrounding walls vibrated with subsonic frequency. A piece of equipment imploded under invisible pressure. That night, Ilara dreamed. A corridor made of shifting metallic flesh. Lights blinked like eyelids. She walked for miles toward a monolithic figure shrouded in shadow. When it turned, she saw 1,000 faces where its head should be, human, alien, and things unspoken. It reached for her. She woke screaming. Ward discovered a pattern in the static interference. It wasn't noise, it was language, compressed, layered, ancient. It repeated one phrase every 9 minutes. "We remember, we hunger, we wake." The vault pulsed in sync. The station fell into chaos the moment Dr. Chen's biometric clearance was used to override the vault's external seal. Klaxons blared through Nyx's lower decks. In the command center, Commander Rourke's face drained of color as the logs confirmed what no one wanted to believe. "He's inside," Ward said quietly. The Fool opened the outer ring. "Lock it down," Rourke snapped. "Full bioseal. No one else goes in." But they were too late. By the time the security team reached the vault, Chen had already descended into the second vestibule. The cameras showed only static, but one still frame caught him standing in front of a shifting mass, a wall of semi-transparent matter, not quite solid, not quite liquid. His voice came over the comms before they failed. "It's beautiful, they're awake, and they're not what we thought." As soon as Chen passed through the threshold, seismic activity spiked across the entire moon. Readings showed tectonic shifts, but localized entirely around the vault. Inside Nyx Station, dozens of systems crashed at once. Lighting, life support, even backup generators. Worst of all, a secondary AI core, the one responsible for containment monitoring, was wiped clean. It didn't fail. It was consumed. And then, the pulse hit. A gravitational wave not measurable by any instrument rolled across space from Aetheron. Ships orbiting nearby registered time distortions. Microseconds stretched into minutes. Those exposed reported visions. Faceless giants, endless corridors, and a whisper, "Your time is not your own." Hours later, Chen returned, but not through the shaft he entered. He appeared at the edge of the surface crater, barefoot, eyes closed, skin frostbitten. He was speaking fluently in the alien tongue. It poured out of him like a song and a scream at once. Medical scanners showed his brain activity was tripled. Blood work revealed changes to his DNA, entire base pairs rearranged. When Alara approached him, he opened his eyes and whispered in perfect English, "I've seen the architects. I am part of the design now." The vault began to open in stages, layer by layer. It peeled away like the petals of a monstrous flower. Each movement sent shockwaves through the station's internal gravity. The outer ring showed carvings now, living carvings. They twisted slowly, depicting the rise of civilizations and their extinction. Ilara decoded a section. It spoke of the First Silence, an ancient galactic war that ended when the last survivors built vaults not to survive, but to trap what remained of something far older, something they had failed to destroy. The station's crew began to change. 5 people experienced memory loops, waking up in rooms they hadn't entered, living moments that had already happened. Others suffered hallucinations, corridors twisting, crew speaking with reversed voices, reflections that didn't match reality. Ludi Iqbal ran a psych eval. Over 60% of the crew were showing neurological contamination, not infection, adaptation. Ilara found Rourke staring at a window. "This station's not under attack," he said quietly. "It's being redesigned." Ilara returned to her research and found the glyphs easier to read. Too easy. They were adjusting to her, shifting form as if aware of her presence. She no longer needed translation software. Symbols meant meaning. Sentences meant emotion. The vault was not just a machine. It was alive, aware, and it was studying her, just as she had studied it. And then the voice returned to her dreams, clearer than ever. "You are a bridge." Despite all warnings, she entered. Ilara knew that whatever was inside had already reached out to her. Denial was no longer safety. Wearing a full environmental suit and accompanied by Iqbal's reluctant team, she passed into the heart of the vault. Inside was no chamber, no prison. It was a womb, a biomechanical cradle built to contain consciousness itself. Suspended within a field of warped time were 3 beings, each colossal, eyeless, bound by tendrils of liquid metal. And yet, they turned toward her. She heard them. Not with ears, but deep in her thoughts they spoke. The architects, not gods, not demons. Creatures of pure thought who had once ruled the stars by folding reality to their will. They did not sleep. They calculated. And when their rule ended, the last of the ancient species built prisons for them, not out of vengeance, but mercy. For waking them meant releasing their influence on time, mind, and existence. You are the seed of your kind, they told her. We grow through memory, through curiosity, through you, through... Nick's station tore itself apart from within. The second pulse came without warning. A wave of distortion warped physical matter. Doors became flesh, bulkheads turned transparent. One crewman was trapped in a looped second, screaming for eternity, then vanishing. The vault was no longer contained. It was expanding, growing. Red tendrils spread up the shaft like roots from a tree, embedding themselves in the station's systems. It wasn't invasion, it was integration. There was only one chance. Rourke, barely coherent, ordered evacuation protocols. We have to scuttle the station, destroy the vault, or it spreads. Across comm relays, across thought. It won't just consume the station, it'll rewrite us. Ilara objected. You can't destroy them, they're not evil, they're indifferent. We woke them, we made them curious. Then we burned curiosity to the ground. Self-destruct was armed. A 2-hour countdown. Shuttles were launched with surviving personnel. But Ilara stayed behind. So did Rourke, Ward, and a small team. They had to ensure the vault's destruction. As they prepared, Chen appeared one last time, walking through sealed doors like mist. You can't kill an idea, he said gently. You can only become it. The team reached the core, one button, one ignition, one end. But Ilara hesitated. The beings were watching her, through her. They weren't forcing her, they were inviting her. Join or destroy, she whispered. That's the choice. No, Chen said. The choice is whether you let others decide your fate or you claim it. Rourke made the choice. He activated the detonation manually, locking Ilara out. Forgive me, he said. We had one rule. The vault cracked open in fury. The architect screamed, not in pain but in disappointment. And then, oblivion. The Nix explosion could be seen from 2 sectors away. No transmissions escaped. No debris remained. Only radiation and gravitational distortion. The Allied Terran colonies classified the entire region. All files sealed, all data purged. And yet, somewhere, in deep archive networks, symbols appeared. Not human, not AI. Waiting. Centuries later, another expedition neared Aetheron. A young pilot flipped through ancient records, bored. One flagged entry remained. Do not wake the aliens. He laughed. Probably just old ghost stories. The ship descended.